Yo, what is good, everybody? It is day two of this challenge. This is actually take two because I thought the first take I was yapping too much and not getting to the point. So I thought I will yap less and talk more about the video. In front of you, it's by a YouTuber named Jerusha Pera. I highly recommend you check her stuff out because she did this video on yeah, that's the video right in front of you. Ragging. She brought a very interesting perspective about the whole pro-raggers versus anti-ragger phenomenon taking place in progressive universities like University of Moratuwa, where she got her degree from. So highly recommend you check out her video on that. A very interesting perspective. So let's dive straight away into Don't Be Too Picky. The video title is Are Your Standards Too High by Jerusha Pereira. Let's go.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm filming this in the middle of June, so if you were watching me from the beautiful island of Sri Lanka, then there's a good chance that you've been at least to two different weddings in the last 2 months. If you're watching me from somewhere else, I'm not sure how it is over there, but at least in Sri Lanka, June and July is peak wedding season. I'm talking booked out churches, the florists are blooming literally and figuratively, and everyone is on active weather watch. So naturally, the topic of romantic love can be found very
So that's crazy because I haven't been to a wedding in a long ass time. I think the last time I went to a wedding was back in 2021. Yes, I haven't been to a wedding in a long ass time now. It's been a minute since I've been to a wedding. So I probably do think that most of the weddings that I went to during my childhood were during the June July period. I do remember my favorite one being in December 2015 of my cousins. Great days, by the way. So yeah.
frequently in conversation these days. Of course, the topic of love is not something that is seasonal or time bound, but like I said, it's very potent these days. So, if you are above the age of 21, there is a good chance that while you have been attending these weddings, that someone or the other has come up to you and asked you when yours is going to be, which is both natural and unsurprising to me because I don't think that the people that ask these questions even do it with any sort of malicious intent. It just happens to be that that is the culture of these South Asian regions and the things that happen at these brown weddings. So in our culture, especially if you come from a more traditional upbringing, there is this pressure to follow this certain structure of things. I've said it in previous videos like A levels, university, marriage, kids, career. There's a whole list of things and age that you're required to fulfill these things by. And I have no personal issue with these requirements or the age that you are ideally supposed to be fulfilling them at. Like even something like getting married young, I know that not everyone agrees with it, but I think it's a really beautiful thing if you know the person that you're going to get married to and you understand the decision you're making. But I also think everyone's journey is different and the timing of God in their lives can differ very greatly. But in a society that is low-key in everybody else's business, there is a certain unnecessary pressure to keep up with this timeline of life that has somehow come to exist in all of this. So not conforming to this timeline can sometimes lead people to think that you're very picky or choosy or you've set your standards way too high, which is a notion I find very interesting, especially in this season where we're celebrating the union of people coming together and choosing to spend an eternity together. That's a very
Yeah, and I'll add to this also. It depends on a person's finances also, because a marriage is a huge financial commitment, ladies and gentlemen. It's a huge financial commitment. What you see, the poro ceremony and the booking out five-star hotels or churches or whatever, it's a huge financial endeavor. People take loans to go for these marriages. So rushing into this, the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, is not necessarily something you want to do at a stage where you are still figuring things out. And also, in your early 20s, heck, I mean, I'm in my early 20s. I don't know what I want in my life, even though it feels like I have got to some sense of a rhythm. Now I'm doing this YouTube video. I am a sub editor at Daily Mirror. It seems like I got a rhythm, but still, I am most of the time very clueless. So at that age, being able to say, okay, I know who I want to be with for the rest of my life is sort of like a crazy notion. Maybe for some people it comes early to them. It comes in a way that is natural, like, okay, I know this is the person I want to be with. We have built a sense of connection, trust, and a sense of, you know, co-interdependence in a way over time. But yeah, it's a financial commitment. You have to realize cost of living is really high in this country, so of course it's not going to be easy for folks, right? So yeah, just wanted to say that too.
Serious commitment. Which is why I want to talk about this today. Is having high standards a good thing or a bad thing? Because I think a lot of this audience, especially, is in that phase in life where they're either dating someone seriously or considering doing that. So, as always, this discussion is an open one. So, as we continue to break this down, please leave your thoughts in the comments. I would love your unique perspective on this, which I'm sure every one of us has. Also, in effort to establish certain terms, I am strictly speaking from the perspective of dating and not marriage. I want to start by saying that the idea of having high standards is something that applies to all aspects of life, whether it be in romantic relationships, friendships, concerning your family, your working environments, or even your own personal well-being in terms of how you take care of your body and your own health. So there is a lot of angles that we can look at this from, but for the sake of this video, I think we're going to tackle it from the most interesting and most easily digestible perspective, which will be a romantic one. Having high standards, of course, is a very subjective phenomena and is totally reliant on who you are as a human being. Who you are is based on your choices, and your choices, of course, are based on your thoughts. I love to look at everything from a biblical perspective, so there is a specific verse in the Bible in Philippians 4:8 that states, "Finally, believers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable and worthy of respect, whatever is right and confirmed by God's word, whatever is pure, whatever is wholesome, whatever is lovely and brings peace, whatever is admirable and of good repute, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think continually on these things." That's the amplified version. So when your way of life, but
So there also it depends on how you as a person are. Now, for example, if I have, say, a code, now it doesn't have to be a Christian code. Now, I personally I hail from a Sinhalese Buddhist family. So if it is abiding by the Buddhist principles of living a good life, or if it's like she said, whatever the principles that are defined out in the Holy Bible, or even uh, any personal code of living a good life, you have to live by those things first. So it is, how do I say it? What's the word? It is imperative, if that's the correct word. It is no, okay. It is important that the individual seeking those standards also have those high standards, and emphasis on that, because I think she'll get into the part where she talks about expectations of such standards from others, but you yourself not holding up those standards is a bit of hypocrite is a bit hypocritical. I think she will get to this part eventually, but big emphasis on that. But let's go.
the reason of the way you think and the things that are in the deepest parts of your heart is rooted in excellence and all of these good things that I just mentioned in the verse. It's only natural that you hold yourself to a certain standard and one that you tend to expect from everybody else. And now, obviously, it is impossible for you to expect that same level of standard from every single person that you meet in your life because the world is so diverse. Society is full of different kinds of people that come from different backgrounds and values and understanding. But where I think having high standards becomes most necessary and relevant is when it concerns those in your closest circles, like your friends, your families, and potentially a partner that you're thinking of spending the rest of your life with. Ultimately, quality attracts quality, and you can only attract what you are. What might make it unreasonable might be to expect or hold others to an impossible standard that you yourself are not on par with. I've seen a lot of people take this approach. I personally cannot vouch for its effectiveness, but if I had to say there was a certain instance or situation that having high standards was unreasonable, this would be the case. So, in my opinion, there's three ways that this can go. The first is where you have high standards for yourself and you expect that of others, of course, based on your own personal values and convictions. The second, like we spoke about a little earlier, is that you don't hold yourself to those standards, but you expect it from others, which is an occasion that I think makes it very unreasonable and unrealistic. The third is when you yourself hold yourself to very high standards, but you don't expect the same of others, especially in your most influential circles, which is the most damaging because that's where you start to compromise your. Like I said, let's look at this in terms of dating. Compromise is another very interesting word when discussing this, one that I think is very relevant. One definition for the word compromise is accepting standards that are lower than desirable. Now, personally, I think there are certain occasions where compromise is necessary and others when it is not. And that distinction takes place in your personal, negotiable, and non negotiables. So, negotiables in this context can be certain standards that you have for yourself that you also might expect of others. But you are also open to discussion, you're willing to sort of meet someone in the middle for the benefit and sake of your relationship. Because obviously, no two people are the same, and it would be insane to expect that. Non negotiables are things you hold yourself to and also expect from others that are not up for debate. This is 100% based on an individual because my negotiables and non negotiables could vary very differently to yours, you watching me right now. For example, a non negotiable could be your faith, your spiritual stance, your moral values, the way you want to do family, the way you handle your money, etc. Non negotiables, on the other hand, at least the way I see it, have more to do with personal preferences. Things you like to do, the food you like to eat, the way you like to spend your time, certain lifestyle habits that you've gotten used to doing as an individual that don't affect the core of who you are as a person. So there might be an occasion in instances like this where you can adapt and meet someone in the middle because, again, no two people are the same, and that's the best part of it. That's what a relationship is. Which is why sometimes it actually breaks my heart to see people compromising on the things that are core to who they are, regardless of whether that is in friendships or even romantic relationships. It drains you of who you are as a human being, and honestly, you are better off on your own. Which I understand in certain communities can be something very daunting. People tend to be scared to be on their own, regardless of whether it's because of loneliness, the social pressure, or having to deal with the trouble of meeting someone all over again and establishing a solid relationship with another person.
Yeah, I can even attest to that. The whole loneliness thing is yeah. First of all, I agree with what she had to say so far. There's nothing that I disagreed with. Uh, Everything she's saying is true, and I can attest to the whole loneliness thing because sometimes. Especially why I emphasize on the finance thing is because finance plays a huge role in who you can talk to, even potential social circles. Because here's the thing, going out is not just going to the park or playing game or playing card games. There are occasions where you might need to spend a little bit of money, be it an outing, okay, going to a restaurant, even getting to the place in the first place, right? If you're going by a taxi or a bus, that's also a cost. If every single aspect of it is a cost in your mind and you're like, do I want to spend that money, or can I use that money to pay off my debt or my bills? So those kinds of compromises are really tough choices people have to make, especially in an economy like ours, where people eat only two meals as opposed to 3 meals. There has been economic growth in Sri Lanka, but we haven't seen real progress in terms of income indicators, right? So in such a tough financial background, yeah, the whole loneliness thing, even the whole homebody sort of thing, it's a stereotype. But is it really a stereotype when the actual practical environment doesn't enable you, that it doesn't incentivize you to do those things because of finance? Like, you don't want to. It's a choice I make every day. Like, do I want to go out and potentially blow money that could be used to spend on reducing my credit card debt, or reducing any other, so paying the bills or something like that in this very tough economy? So that might be anecdotal, that might be my own personal this thing, because I value financial freedom also, and I do value social relationships. But I think you need to have a sense of financial freedom. Like, okay, I don't have to worry. Like, when I go to these social interactions, be it dating, friendship, whatever, I don't have to worry about my purse getting lighter. You feel me? So that's what I want to add there as well.
From the beginning. So, regardless of society's stance on it when it comes to dating, I personally don't think you should ever feel pressure to say yes or continue to stay in a relationship that is actively compromising your values. Of course, it's not easy to categorize everyone's experiences in relationships based on these alone, but I think you can avoid a lot of inevitable heartbreak and damage when you have a clear idea of what you're saying yes and no to. Because honestly, more than having high standards, standards at all, the worst place is to be in the middle, indifferent to what you want out of life and the things that it throws at you. Which is not to say you need all the answers in life, but to an extent, you have to know what you want and value from it. How you choose to treat yourself is how others will treat you in return. So, as long as you hold yourself to a certain value and standard, you will always attract the same from others.
So yeah, there you go. It was a great video by Jerry Shapira. I'm keeping it short, as I always like to do because I can't really go too long with these videos. Anyways, this is part of the challenge of uploading consistently on YouTube. So this is day two. Great, by the way. Go and check her stuff out. She does like vlogs and stuff like that, and she's been consistently uploading on YouTube for like the last 3 years. So yeah, give her a shout. These are her details. I mean, just search up a YouTube channel, Jeru Shapira. It will come right up. Go check her stuff out. And yeah, that's what I have to say about it. Pretty informative video on the whole dating thing compared to most people that I see, especially in the Western world, where dating is more progressive compared to here. Most of the takes there, I mean, if you want to see weird takes on the whole dating thing, you can go and check out this channel also, which is great. um and preach. Now this is more content towards the Western demographic, but the principles do apply. They cross apply. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're in the Western world or in the Eastern world, they cross apply. So go and check these guys also. They are also great. I mean, they have they have already a lot of subscribers. Why I'm rather telling Sri Lankan viewers who can who wants to get some insights, they can go and check this channel out. I got a lot of my dating insights from this channel. It's very cool. They got some good stuff going on there. So yeah, that's what I have to say, and see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.